As someone who didn't even exist when the first Half-Life came out in 1998, hell, even when 2 came out I was only 5, I kept on hearing the praise from the gaming community over the years for the series. I was always interested to see what it was about, but I had two issues. One, I didn't have a lot of money as a kid growing up, so I couldn't buy many games. Two, I wasn't sure if I'd enjoy the original Half-Life given its dated graphics and physics. I didn't want to spend my limited money on a game that I didn't know I'd enjoy, as I'd been spoiled by the visual fidelity and mechanics of modern gaming. That being said, I did have a brief stint with 2 when I picked it up on Steam sale back in like 2012 when I was 13. When I mean brief stint, I mean I got to a certain point in the game where I was stuck because I couldn't figure out how to move my vehicle in a bridge puzzle, and then I got frustrated and caught up playing other games. So I then just gave up. Fast forward years later, I'm at a party at a friend's, and he boots up his PC. I noticed he had something in his Steam library. It was called Black Mesa, and I thought to myself, that sounds familiar. I then asked my friend what it was. He told me it was a remake of the first Half-Life. I was immediately intrigued. A game I heard so much praise for that I was hesitant about due to its dated visuals was now remade to look and feel more modern. I had to check it out. Eventually I picked it up on a Steam sale for around 10 bucks. I was in my 20s at this point, so I had comparatively much more money than I did as a kid. The skills I learned while studying my economics degree at university certainly helped. I downloaded it to my PC. The installation didn't take long. However, I was very impatient, since at the time I had so many games on my backlog that I continually picked up on sales like this one. I had to be immediately interested. Despite the lackluster action at the beginning of the introduction, I was actually pretty hooked. Touring around the Black Mesa facility was really interesting to me. The presentation was phenomenal. That being said, once I got to the part where the reactor blows and you escape, I got really unlucky and frustrated as a result. Basically, the headcrabs attacked me so vigorously that when I was also still learning the controls as a weaponless Freeman, my health went down to 2, and I continued to die extremely fast since my save state was right at that point. I had previous ones, but they were too far back. Due to my sheer impatience, I actually paused my playthrough of the game for some time, probably even months. I was busy with university and other games, so I had a limited amount of time to play everything in my library. Eventually, I came back to the game at the same save state. I was able to get around that brick wall I hit and just powered through by hauling ass to the next area for a health pack. Then I was hooked. I regretted putting the game on hold for so long. I then began to breeze throughout the story of the game, accumulating weapons and equipment, shooting heb crabs and the soldiers trying to cover up the incident. I found it extremely interesting and entertaining. Despite the game's mechanics essentially being from 1998, it was still addictive and fun. It didn't feel dated at all. I did end up pausing for some time again in the middle of my playthrough, but that was because I had health issues. The gunplay was great, and the crowbar gave the game a unique twist. I understand why it's iconic to the games. My favorite gun to use out of all of them was probably a shotgun. The sound and strength of it felt amazing. I also liked how the story of this game in particular was presented. You discover more about what happened as you go, and there's a lot of environmental storytelling. I can definitely tell the Bioshock series most probably derived some influence from this game, especially how in the first one you have a wrench, just like how Gordon has a crowbar. I did have some gripes while I played the game though. One of the biggest ones is despite me playing around in normal difficulty, I think, I felt really overwhelmed with the amount of enemies attacking me on screen at times. I have familiarity with FPSs, so it was relatively easy for me to dispose of them, but I thought the pacing at times could have been better. Their overhaul of the Zen levels was quite beautiful as well. I saw comparisons and contrasts to the original levels in the first game, and wow, the remake team did a fantastic job in reimagining them. You can definitely tell the extent of the runtime of this, which in my opinion is kind of a mixed bag. You see, personally, I found the opening first half of Zen pretty nice and fun to play, but the second half just felt like a drag, and I was already thinking to myself, can I beat the game already? Especially the last level, it was pretty annoying. Solving all those repetitive puzzles and dealing with waves of those mind control guys as well got really annoying. To me, I found the part of the game that takes place on Earth more entertaining, despite it not being as visually pleasing. This is probably because Zen is where the most recently made levels are. That being said, as someone with minimal experience with Half-Life in general, I really love this game. I had a blast playing it. The boss battle at the end was fine in my opinion, but rather easy. But that probably had to do with the difficulty I was playing on. That being said, I beat him pretty fast. I was really intrigued by the ending though. The cryptic message from G-Man interested me and I accepted his offer. I immediately wanted to play Half-Life 2 next to get more to the story, so I actually booted it up and started it the next day. I'm still going through it at the moment, but I'm having fun with it as well. I even got over that brick wall I had when I was 14. So, overall, I'd say Half-Life holds up pretty well as a modern shooter with a compelling narrative. I can clearly see why so many people love this game, and why they think it's one of the best games ever. I understand that when it came out, it was groundbreaking and revolutionary for first-person shooters and PC gaming as well. But overall, I'd say even today, as someone who wasn't even alive when the first game came out, this is great. I understand that Black Mesa remade some levels, visuals, and even touched up the mechanics with the physics engine in particular, but from what I've heard from most Half-Life fans is that this is actually a perfect entry for those who are new to the franchise. Some argue it even enhances the original vision for the first game, since Valve probably rushes it out. I think they even admitted that those levels didn't really turn out the way they wanted it to. The story behind this remake is extraordinary as well. Instead of sending out a lame cease and desist letter EA would, Valve gave money and resources by giving access to the source engine to the fan team working on the remake. It did take quite a while to release it, but it was worth the wait. You have to take into account the fact that the developers who made this game were fans. It wasn't their full-time job. They just made it for fun. The fact that it's fully complete now is a miracle within itself. If you look at other fan-made projects like Skywind or Skyblivion, granted, the amount of work they had to do for those games to be remade is probably more since they are open-world RPGs, but still, it's impressive. And don't let me get started on Fallout New Frontier, which was a disaster. Anyways, that's my short review of Black Mesa. I'll make one of Half-Life 2 if you guys enjoy this one. Thank you for watching.